Hello there, and welcome to Stamping with Val. I'm pleased to have this new video tutorial on my YouTube channel. It's been a couple of weeks since I've had a new video on here. You've been sorely neglected, I'm sorry about that. And I'm sharing a project with you today that I've actually been meaning to share with you for a while, but sometimes it's just finding the time, obviously, to record the video and edit it and everything. But I'm here with you now, and I'm going to be showing you this fabulous little treat box. Okay, it's made using the Home Sweet Home Thinlit dies from Stampin' Up. Okay, and what I've effectively done is made like a double house treat box. Okay, I've used the partial die cutting technique. Okay, the treat box actually opens at the top here, as you can open up to put your treats inside or get them out. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to get them out. Okay, and then I've kept this one simple, just with a little twine and a greeting. But you could go to town on the decoration. You could add more doors and windows and make a bigger house. That would be fun, using the other house dies that come in the set. And then I've got an example later at the end of the video where I show you how you can put a little handle on the top as well. So that's fun. So I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get started. So the technique for making our extended house box is the partial die cutting technique. And those of you who know me know that I love this technique and I use it lots. And there are other videos demonstrating this technique with other dies and other products, but this is obviously, I'm happy to show you again for this one. So obviously we're going to need the Home Sweet Home Thinlit dies, and specifically the house die itself. And then I have two pieces of card. This is real red card, and I have cut this to 14.85 centimetres, so half a sheet of A4 cardstock if you're using the European or South Pacific card, to 17 centimetres that way. For those of you using Imperial card, that's 6 3/4 by 6 inches, roughly. The depth part just needs to be, as long as it's as deep as the die. Okay, the width part's the more crucial, so 17 centimetres or 6 3/4 to get the length of the box we're going for. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our card and our Big Shot. So for my Big Shot, I have the magnetic platform, one acrylic plate, and then a piece of the cardstock with the 17 centimetres that way. It wouldn't fit through the Big Shot that way anyway. Okay. And we're going to start with the edge nearest the centre of the machine. I'm going to lay our die onto our piece of card. Now I like to identify a straight edge within the die and then use that against the straight edge of the piece of cardstock to align everything up all the way along. So for this one, in fact, I'm actually going to turn it round. We'll do it this way up. I think it will make more sense. So I'm going to use this straight edge of the die here, but you could use that one. And I'm going to line it up so that it's in line with this straight edge of the piece of card. And I'm going to position these two outermost points of the die on this edge of the card. Now the reason for that is that then when I come to do the second piece of card, I'll position the outermost point on that point again, and when we do the other end, and it just means that the two pieces will end up the same size. So when you're happy that you've got that in position on there, I'm going to slip my top acrylic plate inside the machine, and then I'm going to cover almost but not all of the house die. So I'm covering the front pitched part of the house and most of the side, but not all of it. You'll see that I've left this angled edge and these cutting edges uncovered. Okay, you want to cover as much as you can, but you don't really want to get that angle into it, and you obviously don't want any of those cut edges. If it's not covered by the plate, it can't cut. And we're going to pop it and roll it through the machine like so. And what you'll see is, if I lift this up to show you and remove the die, is that we've cut that pitched front, we've cut along here, but it's still within the piece of card. Okay, so putting the piece of paper back where I had it, piece of card back where I had it, I'm now going to line the die up again. This time I'm going to slide it all the way along. So I'm still lining this edge up against this edge of the top of the piece of card, and I'm positioning the outermost point on this side now with this edge of the card, like I say, so that when I do the second piece of card in a minute, they'll end up the same size. Now this die, we're actually going to end up with a gap in the middle that we're going to have to join, and I wouldn't always share them, but it'll be okay. So we are going to cover just this edge of the die this time. We're not covering very much of it at all. We want to avoid cutting round there, so we don't want to cut that corner. We don't want any of these scored edges in here either. We just want this edge, and then we can join everything up. So I'm just covering this edge, and I'm going to run it through, because I'm not covering much. As you go through, this plate's at risk of flying off, so just sort of get ready to catch it. You see? Okay, and then if we push it through, you'll see that this is what we have now. So we have that part of the house, and then we have a long side, but we're going to need to join these score lines and these cut lines up in a minute to be able to remove this from the piece of card, because at the minute it's still all attached. But we'll put that to one side for a second. I'll go ahead, I'll show you it again. Okay, so just repeating the exact same thing, lining this edge up with this edge of the die, this furthest point up with this edge of the die, card, sorry, and then covering all but this side. Pop it through, and then from this side slide the die across, line the die up with the top edge again, this time we're just cutting a little bit. Get ready to catch that. See how it shoots off? Push that through there. So now I have a second one, and hopefully if all's gone well, they've turned out the same size as well. Yay! Marvellous. Right, I will go ahead, I'll get rid of all this, I'll readjust the camera to work on the desk, and we'll carry on making our little box. The sun's come out really brightly on my desk now. Right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to join up these score lines. So on this one you've got a score line for that top flap, a score line here to create the roof, and then a score line to create the bottom flap. So I've just got a scoring tool. You can use the back of a blunt knife, you can use a paper folder. I'll try and find something not too thick. I'm just going to join all those score lines up now. Hopefully I think you can see that. Whereas obviously they had a gap in that one. I've now joined them up. So do the same on this one. Okay, and when I'm happy that I've joined those up, I did that while it's still in there because it just keeps everything still. I'm now going to join up the cut lines as well. Now I'm just going to use a long pair of scissors that will get from one side to the other, like so. If you were careful, you could put it in your trimmer, or you could use a steel knife, a steel ruler, sorry, and a craft knife if you wanted. But I'm just going to use a long bladed pair of scissors that will just bridge the gap in one snip. Okay, so there's only two to cut, top and bottom. Just join those up. And now that's fallen away, and now we have two elongated house boxes. So they're all good to go, we can fold along all the score lines. Now this is a little bit boring to watch, so I'll do one. See how long it takes. And some of these little ones are a bit, well, little. Oh, and that one as well. Okay, so that one. That one. I'm folding this one up. We'll trim that one in a minute, but it's not essential, but I'll do it anyway. That one. That one's easy. That one. And then that one as well. Now those are all folded up. This square one, I'm actually going to trim this off so it's a similar size to that. Okay, because if you imagine us assembling this together now, and there's the other end, you'll see that we're going to have a big hole in the bottom and we're going to have to cover it anyway. So I'm just going to cut that big enough for me to still get some tape on it. So I'm just creating a flap like on all the other sides, like so. And now we can find some tape and we can tape up some of the flaps. So we're certainly going to want tape on all the bottom flaps. Now these flaps are quite narrow and the tear and tape is actually ever so slightly too wide, but you can just fold over any excess before you stick everything together. So for now, I'm just going to add it to here and here and here. Partly because I'm going to need to check my original to see. I don't want to tape it all up at the top because I want to leave a closure for us to get in and out, basically. And I want to make sure that I don't put tape in the wrong places for that. Okay, so we've got that. This is going to join the sides together, this is going to join, and then we'll come back and worry about taping at the top in a minute. So let's start just doing the base of the box. So if you've got some excess hanging over, you could use a wet glue and a wet adhesive like the Tombow, if you've got a little patience just to wait and press it all down. So because I'm doing it on video, I'm going to use tape. And then that one, keep falling off. Now you can't just go like that because they're angled. You can't just go like that, they don't line up. So you do actually have to sort of hold it in the air. Try and make sure I get it on the screen for you. And line them up like that. Okay, so now you can start to see. So there's the roof, like that, and here's the bottom. Now, for the bottom, because as you can see, we've got a hole. So I've cut another piece of real red cardstock. Here we are. This is in metric. It's 8.5 centimetres by 3.3 centimetres. In imperial, that's 3 3/8 of an inch by 1 1/4 inches. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is start removing the tape backings. But because of the way they overlap anyway, what I'm going to do is to sort of square the bottom off with itself first. So we want a fairly square house, don't we? So I'm going to push one in and then push the one next door on and stick it to itself, if that makes sense. And do that all the way around. And you just have to play around and work out where makes it square, what angle, because I don't think they necessarily line up straight. I'm just tucking the tape in on that one. Okay, put that one under there. No, that one goes on top of there. I'm going to tuck that one under there. Okay, so we're just making sure. Okay, if you don't press down too hard until you're sure, then if you've not quite got it square, you should be able to undo it. And then when you're happy it's square, and mine's not very square, unfortunately, I'm going to jiggle it a bit, I think. No, I'm not sure that's much better. But when you're happy that it is square, you can go ahead then and stick your new base on. My base could do with being a little bit longer, actually. What did I say, 8.5? That could maybe do with being 8.7 or maybe 3.25 inches by the looks of it. Okay, so now we've just got the top to deal with. So I actually recut that piece, so I've made that 8.7 by 3.3 centimeters, which is going to be about 3.5 inches by 1.25 inches. The best thing probably to do is actually measure your box once you've made it and cut a piece of card to the right size, okay, just in case there's been any sort of funniness. So for the box, I want to be able to get into it. What I found was if you tuck those in like that, tuck them both inside, it will kind of stay shut, but it pings back open. It doesn't really want to per se. So I'm going to make sure that one of these has got a really good bend on it. I'm going to stick one side down but leave the other as a flap. So on this side I'm just going to pop a piece of tape there, and a piece of tape there. Okay, and I'm then going to stick this side of the roof down. So 1, 2. Okay, and tuck that little lip in. And then this one can just tuck in. And you'll find that with one side stuck down, the other side's more inclined to stay tucked in. Okay, but if you find that it does just want to pop out all the time, then you can use my decoration, and then obviously it's going to hold it all together anyway. So for this box, I'm going to tie it up with some twine. So this is the Candy Cane Lane Baker's twine. This is the red and sort of the sparkly red one. So obviously put your treats in first. That's a given, obviously. Wrap that round a few times. Be a bit neater than me, obviously. I'm just being messy now. Okay, and I'm going to tie that at the top. Now on my completed one, I may or may not tie some jingle bells into it, but I'm not going to show you threading jingle bells onto this twine on video, because if you have tried, you'll know that it's a pain. They're a pain to thread on. Okay, so I'm just going to do you a knot for now, and it's not even that brilliant a knot either. Getting myself all in a twist, and my twine's in a twist too. Look, all my bows have twisted up. I'll retie them for the formal shots, but you get the idea. Okay, and when you're happy you can just cut that off. And then I've done a little sentiment for mine as well. So I have taken the Greetings from the North Pole. This is from the Greetings from Santa stamp set. And I have stamped it onto white card. And then I've used the partial die cutting technique again with the smallest square stitched framelit. I haven't done the world's best job, so I won't show it to you too close up. But basically to give myself a stitched rectangle. If you haven't got them, just use an ordinary square or an ordinary rectangle die if you've got one. Okay, And then I've popped a couple of dimensionals on the back, and then I'm just going to pop that on there like so to finish off my little box. And there we have it. Obviously I've used twine, you could use ribbon, you could use all sorts of things, but there's my little treat box. Okay, made using that Home Sweet Home die. I've got another fun one. It's not decorated, this one. This is another fun one. It's made in the exact same way. It's the same size. Okay, but for this one, I've added a little handle. So the lift still opens up. You can see where I wasn't sure when I made this one. This is one of my prototypes, whether I was going to tape this or not. So the tape's there, but I've never taken the backing off. But what I did for this one was I die cut some circle framelits, and as you can see I've die cut a frame, so I've die cut a big one and then a smaller one inside to give me like a handle. Okay, and then I've stuck it inside of here. I can't remember, I might have stuck it on before I assembled the box, but I think you could probably easily add it afterwards. It wouldn't be a problem. You just need to make sure that you get the two positioned in the same place. Okay, and then I've just stuck it on. I've trimmed the bottom of the circle off there, okay, so that I haven't got that hanging about inside. But by doing that, it's kind of a bit like a gable box, so I've ended up with a cute little handle on it that will hang like so, and it's almost kind of a bit, oh, the sun's come out again, look at that, I'm sorry, I'll put my hand there. Okay, so it's kind of a bit like a little handbag. So there's some fun ideas that you can use using, let's try and get a bit of shade on that, some fun ideas using the Home Sweet Home treat box die to create larger treat boxes, because you can always have more treats, can't you? Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial, and I'm going to give it a go. Let me know how you get on. I'd love to hear back from you as to what you think of the video, whether you think you'll give this a try. If you do give it a try, how you get on with it. Tell me all about it. Leave me comments under the video, leave me comments on the blog, Facebook page. I'm all over the place. Okay, I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.